Stories as to what happened before Muhammad lived. But certain people turned around and said Muhammad actually wrote the Quran. The Quran explains, you were not there when Mary gave birth, is a form
görüşemiyorduk ya. Evet. Ondan sonra her yerde beraberiz. Öyle bir
tamam,
sorun
tabii. Orası şu anda
iyi gözüküyor.
90.
where the first assembly met in 1920 on the 23rd of April is this building here to the left hand side behind the green bus with the Turkish flag, where the War of Independence, look at that poster with Atatürk just newly put there, and Atatürk is on his horse in the front, that's him, his comrades down below, another one done by Canonica, the Italian sculptor, in front. From left to right, this is the main street of Ankara that separates it into two sections, and it's the Atatürk Boulevard. And Atatürk, the hero of the Ottoman Turks in Gallipoli, becoming the first president in 1923. Behind that 17th century mosque in the front with that interesting brick minaret, brick building, and like a house as it seems rather than a domed basilica type. That's from the 17th century, a different type of mosque, and that's a new mall to its left, which you see as a building with the store K-I-L-E-R, Kiler, shown at the top. Now to the left of that minaret, is the excavation area of Ulus from the Roman period. That's where, when we pass by that minaret, I will ask you to look to the left, because at the end of that plaza you will see one column standing from the time of Julian Apostate. After this new mall on the left, keep looking to the end, you'll see the column there. Can you see it standing?
Yes.
This is the excavation site to the left here. And you will see remains which were found here in the Archaeological Museum. Devam et abi. And in 6 hours, once we left Taksim, now we're in Ankara, including lunch. So we drove here in 5 hours because of the tunnel. We got here quite fast, actually. That's been a great ride, and I'm glad they have opened this section. Our timing is working, so we'll be able to visit the museum. Then the hurdle is between here and the hotel, and we'll see what we can do on that. Look to the left-hand side. These are all the Gecekondu buildings from the beginning of the 20th century. This is the shabby part of Ankara. They will be knocking them all out. All of this will be knocked out. And they will rebuild it and give flats to the owners of those overnight built residences, as Gecekondu stands for. Look at all that hill will change. And if you come back in the next 5 years, you will see it newly built. Now the walls ahead of us go back to the 9th century. Most of it, except this section, has been restored in the front. But look at the walls behind, the Roman period, as we're going up to the top. I will also show you where our bus will be parked. He will take us to the front of the museum and we'll get off there. But once we're finished with the museum, the bus will be down below the museum where the parking lot is. And I will show you as we drive to the top where the bus will be parked, so you can walk down those steps to the bus, and that's where I will meet you when it's all finished.
It says this is where the tourist buses park here. Do not park here. And of course, there they are. And we are waiting for them.
Adamın yüzündeki ifadeye bakarsan sanki tır kullanıyor. He?
Evet.
He?
Normaldir baba ya. Herkese böyle peynir ekmek gibi hediye dağıtmak.
Doğru söylüyorsun.
This is the museum on the right. These are the steps where the guy is sleeping. This is where we go in, please. Now I'll show you where the facilities are as we go in.
Çek. Çek. Şöyle çek. Şöyle çek. Şöyle.
But you know, as soon as I saw this, then I went, oh.
To use facilities, it's up these steps through the door on the other side. You know where the bus is. Good. Where's the door? This is where the classical period findings are in Turkey. The ones around Ankara have been found here. Late Hittite, all of this. Urartian, which is in the east. Phrygian, which is Gordian. Lydia, which is Sardis, is all on that side. Assyrian settlements. And Hittite, look at the Hittites. Quite big. Chalcolithic, which is like after Çatalhöyük, and that is early bronze, quite extensive as one can see. Neolithic, Çatalhöyük, where we're going, and Paleolithic, all of this. They should also have Yarımburgaz here as well lit up. There's no sign here. They should have this. This is 400,000 years old. Okay? Which one did I forget? There, and then I'll give you our time to meet. Now this is Paleolithic age. That's like 2,300,000 years old to 10,000. So when I said basically 400,000 for Yarımburgaz, that yes is the oldest spot in Turkey. But the first men who left Africa, East Africa, nearby Ethiopia today, is about 3.6 million years ago. Okay, so this is as far as we can trace it. And of course this is cave life. These are the kind of caves we have in the country with pictures. Where there is water on the sides, they would live in caves for security reasons. And they would always be using these flintstones kind of things against their enemies, also like these sharp-edged rock formations to cut things. And of course it becomes finer as we come closer to our portion in timing. And again, here they should show Yarımburgaz, but it's missing. Okay? This museum is missing because it was organized before Yarımburgaz was discovered in 1989. Is why that message there only by name appears. This way, please. This is a brand new way of showing you Çatalhöyük homes. These are side by, this is the inside, beautifully done, with the ladder going up to the top. The top is where they entered from, as we will see Çatalhöyük, by the use of the ladder, because they were burying people underneath these homes. This is a cross-section of a Çatalhöyük home, and you can see the inside. That's about the right size, as we will see them. And then they buried people underneath. It was for ancestral worship, is why they did that. They didn't want to send away the deceased and the family too far away from where they lived themselves, as they were afraid that the soul would come back and harass them. So it's like burying people in the basement of our homes in our times. And for the same fear in us. But that's what they did. This is why at one time down below they had entrances like regular doors. But the more they buried people down below, one house on top of another in time, then they didn't want to disturb the dead by entering from the side door. They had these openings at the top. By the use of ladders, they started coming down so they would not disturb the dead. And when we will go to that tumulus, you will get that feeling, okay? So this is beautifully done. It's a brand new restoration work for Çatalhöyük project, which is new. Now this is Neolithic period, and this is the goddess of Çatalhöyük, which should be over there. We should see it soon. And these are color frescoes. And we're talking about 8,500-year-old paintings when you look at them. This is a hunting scene, for example. You can see people and you can see huge animals they're trying to hunt down. And a deer, a large deer, is portrayed over here. Let's go back. They will have these. This, by the way, we won't touch it, but as material, this is sun-dried mud brick. And after 9,350 years, in Anatolia, we have homes built with the same material, because it keeps the cold away and keeps, in summer, the house quite cool. It's a lovely material. You can see it from the side when you look at it like that, all right? With the plaster on top of it made of mud, and to make it smooth. And you will see these bull's horns showing male fertility as one of the designs. And the female fertility was the goddess herself, with big breasts, as we will see. And in case when we go to Ephesus, we will see the same format in a goddess, which is Artemis, with lots of eggs of fertility. So that is where the idea is coming from. Let's move on to the next one, please. you're looking at that mother goddess in the center now. She is seated on a throne with big breasts, leaning on back on the throne with the two leopards on both sides. So this is from Çatalhöyük, but similar goddesses were revered in this country, which brings us to Göbekli Tepe that I told you about, with Adam and Eve introduction we spoke about on the bus. And so Anatolians were people who were used to having mother goddesses. As a goddess of nature, they revered her. And so when it came to the Hittites, they revered Kubaba, another lady goddess. When it came to the period of the Greeks, they revered to Artemis, another lady goddess. So when Virgin Mary appears in Ephesus, they welcomed her. She was a familiar lady figure representing God to them. But when Paul and John appear in Ephesus, they're not used to men representing God, so they were not treated the same way. So this is the lineage of how it arrives to Virgin Mary and John and Paul's period in Ephesus that we should remember, okay? So this is where it all started. I told you about. This is a new sign here, because some of these obsidian stones were on exhibit in Germany, representing 12,000 years of Anatolian heritage, as some of the oldest findings of mankind anywhere on planet Earth, is where this is all coming from, okay? So this obsidian is of course the material they use for cutting. They used it like a mirror and reflecting light for messages. They used it. And if you ever go to Çatalhöyük today to make an excavation, you will find lots of obsidian still around. But where did the obsidian arrive to Çatalhöyük from? From Mount Hasan, about 150 kilometers away. That's like 100 miles, which is in Aksaray. So how did it get there? With this volcanic explosion of this interesting explosion right here, and that is come with all the clouds that carried the volcanic activity over the air into Çatalhöyük, where people lived. And these are the houses which you were looking at over the television set with the flat roofing. Some 10,000 people lived in Çatalhöyük. It's the first big man community of the Neolithic age, the best excavated site of its type anywhere, and we will see that, okay? So this is obsidian stone, and this is the first man-made painting, and that is exactly from 6200 BC, showing the volcanic activity and the houses in the vicinity of the city. Then you can do all your filming and everything nicely. Again, most of these artifacts that are shown in this showcase here. Hello, our group this way, please. Woohoo! Hola! This is all Mother Goddess. Her name is Cybele, by the way, C-Y-B-E-L-E, Cybele, okay? And she's in different formats, lying down, enjoying life. All of that. Huh? Lucky her. And a lot of these paintings Now these were all in storage areas. All this section here to the left is brand new. So we took them last year. They were not there. By the time you can come back and take them. We're going one floor down now. Collection right here. Okay, is the Lydian collection. Excuse me. That means between 560 and 546 BC. These are the coins from Sardis. Croesus coins, as rich as Croesus. Remember all that, okay? Excuse me. The metal that's used in here is gold, sometimes mixed with silver, which is called the electrum. So they use both mixtures as well. So then all the coins from different periods and their age groups are shown down below. A fantastic collection of coins we have. Excuse me. We're going to see some terracotta works of art in here, beautifully done, for olive oil burning, like little lamps, a cross in the background, and these votive offerings which they made to the burial grounds. And then we have the Roman period, beautiful works of art from the Romans, Hellenistic period, side by side. Let's keep this up, please. We will have time to come back. Cave life, Paleolithic age, Ankara and surroundings, how people lived here. Early Bronze Age of Ankara, this is all from around here. The Hittite period, beautifully. The Phrygian period, beautifully shown. This is the Roman period right here, from the nearby theater. The graveyards at Balgat, near Ankara. And Ulus excavation is what I just showed you coming in, from to the left of the mosque. Remember all that? This is all found with the Ulus excavation, because if you come to this window, you will see the mosque I just showed you and the excavation site, and Julian Apostate's column there. And you see the excavation area. This side here is where they have the new shopping mall. This is before the mall was built, that picture. So it's all from that section. Excuse me, all of Ulus excavation continues. Ulus is where we are. The Romans, the coinage of Ankara, and the Roman. Thank you. We're going up to the top floor again, please, and then you can come down again.
Hittites here, 3000 BC.
That might remind you of the Nazi design here. What is that? Swastika is what they call it. And of course, the deer is the main animal for power with the Hittites, and a lovely gold band like they put up in our times, made of gold, different lovely goblets, and all gold figures here, decorative works. And the lovely goblets, series of them in the back, all Hittites. We go this way quickly, please. Yeah. not busy. But let's start from here, please. Do you remember my description of King Midas? The man who is lying down here in the model is the way they discovered him, with all the pots and pans around. Remember, one day he'll come back alive and he needs all of them to get back to life. This is the whole idea. And this is the tumulus for King Midas. And this is the entrance into the tumulus, which is led like this. And this is how they found the pots and pans inside before they cleaned them up. And we're going from Ankara to Eskişehir. And if you go on the train, this is how close you come to it at Gordian. That's the city. And these are all the Hittite cities. Quite a big civilization, as you see, with Çatalhöyük shown here, as well as Gordian. Where are we? Gordian. Ankara and Gordian, right here. And then this is Eskişehir, this is where the train goes to, and you pass by it. Istanbul, nothing is shown again. So let's go back to that corner, please. It's a very important corner there. I will give you a little secret. So when they will ask you the question during the pottery show, Father Tom knows this, you can tell the expert how you get the second color here. See, that's the natural color of the clay, isn't it? The red clay from the Red River. That big river back there is the Red River. That's the longest river in Turkey. Goes through Cappadocia and goes into the Black Sea. Runs for about 1,650 kilometers. It's big. And so along the Red River comes the red clay used in the pottery making. That's why the color is mostly red. But sometimes you will have black plus red. So how do you get that? You have to put this in the kiln twice. The second time when you put it back in the kiln, you have to cover it with hay. The part that does not get enough oxygen will turn to black. So when they ask you tomorrow, how do you do it, you tell them that, okay? Thank you very much. Everyone, very important it is. The question was, who were Assyrians? Assyrians are Syrians of today. And you know where Syria is. So the Hittites traded with Assyrians. And Assyrian Hittite trade was the biggest trade at the time. And the Hittite cities had the lines one on either side at the entrance. Remember, it was showing to the outside world that they were ready to fight till the very end. And Assyrians and Hittites were communicating with these baked tablets. They would write in cuneiform over the baked tablets, and that's how they kept their records. It's the internet of 3,000 years before our times. And they have kept every kind of document. A legal document like people getting married or divorce, or maybe they're selling and buying stuff. It's all on record in the same fashion. And my favorite window is the corner one, because that's where all of those documents are on display. And yet, portions of it is even more fantastic, because it is the letter in the envelope in clay. and you have to break the outside, the envelope, to get to the letter which is inside. So you'll be able to see both of them together in the showcase. This way, please. These are all these legal documents, each one of them. That's the letter and the envelope. There's one hardly broken from the edge. They probably looked inside, said, "This is not the letter I am expecting." It's not how we discard some of the letters we get, you know, junk mail, throw it away. Well, so that's the corner right there. And that they come in 2 layers because of that. All right? Beautiful. Let's continue this. Well, when you look at our glass top tables in our times, over which we serve coffee, we think, you know, it's pretty dandy. But King Midas in Gordian in the 8th century BC was using similar coffee tables. And again, the same swastika design that you see. You add these end on end, they become like river meander. So that's even more original form on its own, one by one. This way, please. All right, everyone. I told you about 28,000 tumuli. Just in the Gordian region, they have 96 of them in an area like that, one after the other. And only one of them, where they knew he was buried, is the one that's excavated. So you can come back here in 12,000 years and there's still work to be done. This way, please. Tarshan civilization is up here in this section here. Beautiful. This is from the east. It's about 8 to 10 millenniums before Christ. Big civilization, big cauldrons. Right here. Big cauldrons, big sized pots. We will see this in Cappadocia. They were using them for storage, wheat storage. And in different formats, they were even shipping olive oil as well as wine inside with the ships. And that's how they're buried when you find them in the cities. Look on the side. All right? Storage jars, as we call them. Let's go and see some of the best Hittites, please.
Hittite lion there.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Remember I told you this name, Kubaba. And I said, first it's Kubeli, then it's Kubaba of the Hittites, the mother goddess. Kubaba, late Hittite. It's like 950, 850 BC. That's Kubaba for you, okay? Before you reach Artemis. So that is the major goddess. And this building is a fantastic building, as is in itself. It's a 1471 Grand Bazaar, built by Mahmud Pasha. A similar one is a portion of the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul. I will show you when we go back, from exactly the same period, with the same Sinan style beams holding the structure together with pointed arches you had pointed to me in Istanbul. And the last of the Hittites are around 16. I told you when we were in the Istanbul Museum, which was an imitation one of this, that I would show you the real stuff in Ankara. This is King Tarhunza, made of limestone, around 800 to 750 BC. The late Hittite king saying cheers to the god in real format, okay? And the two original Hittite lines from Malatya, and that's how they were found at the entrance to the city door right there. Everyone, this is a wonderful museum. We have time now, 3:05. At 4 o'clock, in 55 minutes, I will meet you at the bus. Facilities you can reach also from outside up the steps, a little right turn, it'll be on your left, and the bus will be straight down that way.
This is for evidence later, right? Or for blackmail. So Joy, how are you liking the experience so far?
This is an amazing experience. It's awesome. Getting to see everything, all the historical sites.
Uh-huh.
It's great.
All right. What do you like about this museum?
It was really interesting, those houses that are built below ground and then they climb it through the top. That was really interesting. And
Which, of course, we're going to be seeing in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
Yeah. Nice little coffee bar, too.
Take a little break.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
But I could listen to Aydın for hours and hours and hours.
You will.
I will. Did I say I could? I said I will listen to Aydın.
Yeah. So, get a little closer, the two of you, and what have you liked about the trip so far?
I've liked the history lesson. Just learning about early Christianity and kind of where we came from and how we got where we are.
Great.
I think the immensity of the archaeological studies that and finds that have been here, and the variety of them, and to think that this really has really come about in a significant, organized way, in the last few decades.
Good. Thank you. Any second thoughts, John?
Well, the archaeology, the discoveries, as they keep going down and going further back and further back is very interesting.
Excellent.
And I would say this, that just one typically thinks of the Old Testament as a bunch of shepherds and sheep and Ecclesiastes and things like that. And here I just saw a chariot that was built in, or a replica of one that was built in 1000 BC, 1,000 years before the Romans. And they had sophisticated societies way before Christ was on the scene. And during this period, of course, the Old Testament was written, so it's given me a different perspective of the experiences of folks writing in the Old Testament.
Great.
Those guys.
At least this isn't a seafood restaurant, so they're not in danger. Yeah. It's going to get an overall shot here too. My videos are going to be jerky from in front of the museum.
It's almost like they're sleeping out right here. It's almost like when we were down in LA. Right here.
Ama sen de konuş, ben şuradan durayım.
Political protest with guns drawn. Ne oldu baba?
Saat 45 dakika arası diyor.
Over here.
What, you don't have a bigger gun than he's got?
Is buried in that brownish building
Oh, I see.
up the top, the squarish one, yes. He died in 19... to Midday Express, not Midnight Express. Yes. We go 4x4.
Gel abi. Ben anasını satayım gideceğim. Evet. 3 tane arabanın 4 tanesi şey ya.
Yes.
Öyle dur orada, oradan ayrılma. Altına giriyoruz araba. Suya da suya değil abi. Düşünüyorum başka bir şey. He? Ali Cengiz oyunu düşünüyoruz da bakalım nasıl olacak. Ali Cengiz oyunu düşünüyoruz. Safir olsaydı şimdi buradan atlardık biliyor musun şu kaldırımdan. Şu kaldırımdan atlardık. Kaldırım gene atlarız aslında da.
Buradan sola girmemiz lazım değil mi bizim?
Evet. Şuradan girmem gerekiyor da.
Anladım abi. Abi sen orada bir bu dönüşü yapacaksın. Başka çaremiz yok. Biraz
Ama sen haklısın.
Buradan dönersek anca var ya kılı kılına şeyi kapatırız abi. Ne yapacak?
Where's Stallone?
Oh, he's going to get on the water. Mexico, we could take up a collection.
Geç araba geç. Şey yokmuş abi açmışlar. Yollar hep açılıyormuş.
İleriden o dönüşü yapsak ya.
Bırakmazlar da baba. Siz inin gene. Biz gidip ayrı bir
oğlum gel bunu tak buraya. Beni bayılttı bu.
See some snow coming at us.
Kusura bakma. Bir de soru sordular abi.
It only does this one. It's got to
Right.
Biraz da şunun ağzını öbür tarafı çevirsene araba. Kancanın ağzını çevirsene.
Quite a view, eh, everyone? Well, you cannot ever say now you've not been to pilgrimage without snow now, Father Tom.
That's right. That's right.
You should have seen the 2003 St. John's tour. We had snow to my knees.
2003 St. John's.
But that was February, end of February, and it sort of went beyond March 20, something like that. It was a long one, 3 weeks. And I remember going to Çatalhöyük, where we will go when we spend the night in Konya.
Yine sıcak oldu içerisi abi.
Then that's the day we had all that much snow. We enjoyed it tremendously because it was great effort on the part of our driver. There was no traffic out there, okay? And he could steer the vehicle and we could visit the place. And the guard at Çatalhöyük was amazed that a group arrived, so it shows you the intention behind it. But this will go away once we get a bit more sunshine, I think. But Konya and of course central Turkey is colder than Ankara. And we have had a warm summer, a warm winter, I'm sorry. A warm winter and not too much rain this winter and snow. Very little snow. 1 day of snow out of the general 8-day snow in Istanbul, which is the average. And that's what we had. You're probably noticing a lot of names like MCA store on the right, Gross Market, and all these Turks like all these foreign names to use for their businesses. It's not for foreigners, it's definitely for everyone, but then I guess this is something in them. Ever since 1839, the Ottoman Sultan made a declaration about the intention of the empire to go west. And the architecture changed. A lot of the traditions changed. Don't forget, Sultan Abdulaziz was the one in 1867 who lived in that Dolmabahce Palace with that big carpet and the big chandelier we passed by, which is right on the Bosphorus, where he used to live there. He took his private yacht to the Mediterranean that summer of 1867 and went to southern France. And he was then put on the train, royal train, where he spent time in the Versailles and then went by Channel to England, and then he was taken by train to the Victoria Station and spent time in the Buckingham Palace and also spent time in Vienna. This is that little lake I told you about, by the way. For people to walk around it and all of that. It's a very nice area, as you can see. And then he came back after a month and a half. It was unbelievable, unheard of in Europe. An Ottoman Sultan was coming to Europe for the first time. Not only that, but all the ladies, royalty ladies, princesses, they all lined up to dance with him. He is the first Ottoman Sultan who danced in Europe. And when you think of that, and when you think of the time of Süleyman the Magnificent, going back to the 16th century, and this is the second half of the 19th century. So in about 350 years, here's a letter written from Suleiman the Magnificent to Francois, the King of France at the time. He's saying, I hear that you are entertaining yourselves in a new fashion which is called dancing. I want to tell you and let you know that we do not find this kind of behavior in line with moral ethics. And he says, I just wanted you to know how we felt about it. That is the same man who had trouble with the German king and asked for the help of Suleiman the Magnificent. I remember in that speech of mine in Ola comparing the period of Suleiman the Magnificent with the times we're living right now, the time of President Bush. And so it's interesting how things change throughout centuries in the same country. And this is the second half of the 19th century when it happened. This is our map again, everyone. To reach the age of 15, 16, then they have enough experience and still fine fingers to make the finest rugs. Possible that people have made these carpet shampoos and you can... Okay,
Right there.
all right.
Okay. Aren't they wonderful?
Yeah, it's
Now
close.
we're beginning to see the mountain of Lancaster. What are they selling?
Maybe. Well, these are little seeds, like sunflower seeds is what I see here. Like the nuts, you know, we're getting. All whatever they're raising around here, they will sell, depending on the season. Maybe the top of the hill, Mount Hassan, Hasan, is there as well.
Used to look at that clouds.
Yes. That's with the clouds. With the top maybe there, all in white. You can see the white. Madem niyetin alı satmak is 85%. It's beautiful and we'll stop very soon. This is where they will charge you for using facilities. But this is the best facilities on the road. You will like that. And I think it's like half a lira, 50 kurush is the charge. I'll check at the gate.
Silk ties, shirts in any one of these gifts. The entrance to the Bulu Jami is highly visited by the Anzacs in the last 90 years. We also have some old reminiscence from the Second World War when we followed the Anzac coastline in our times.
Turning into into what we call to fight stone. To fight stone. And they have simply scraped it. It's all very low.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
We're changing planes.
This is pretty.
Yes.
What have you enjoyed the most so far?
I have enjoyed seeing the Friday worship service at the mosque.
Oh, good. What was that experience like for you?
It was pretty intense, just seeing everyone and their rituals and just seeing a whole different side to religion, spirituality.
Good, thank you. Now, Frank, I think
With a mouthful of
I'm not going to like best about the trip so far.
I like best about the trip how authentic these things are, because usually you don't find old buildings and things like that in such good shape. So that's pretty interesting.
Oh, good.
And the people are very nice. And the company's great.
Yeah, fantastic pilgrimage group,
That's
right?
Yeah.
All
very good
right.
people. And the guide, great guide, very knowledgeable.
Good.
So far that's what I've liked.
All right. Thank you.
Mama's rather uncool most fervent disciples among Basil's relatives. But Basil was not content merely to accept the doctrines of Eustathius. He undertook a long journey to Egypt and Syria in order to study at close quarters the first experiments in monasticism, which were then taking place in those areas. When he returned from Syria, nor on the large houses of which he may have heard, Cappadocia, consisted of small communities comparable regime with families sufficiently remote from villages. In this field, he was indeed himself responsible for appointing 2 men of great and was brought to maturity by a series of learned bishops. On the several occasions when Athanasius was expelled from Hence was the mass of those mostly elite of Christians who were visibly tending to draw apart from the general mass of the faithful. Following the example of his predecessors in the sea, Basil was able in the first place to confirm his flock in their faith for the struggle against Arianism, using what he himself called his theology, that is, all the resources of dialectics. He managed with equal success to combat Arianism when it reached out from the subtleties of theology to use the weapons where we're coming into with rain. So with umbrellas, hopefully, or raincoats. And we'll go up a little bit, and as we do in Göreme, can you all say Göreme?
Göreme.
This is where we are. G-O umlauts, R-E-M-E. And look at all the varied chimneys beginning in front. Look at this one straight ahead, look at the next one to it. How the levels of erosion side by side, adjacent, are lining up the same way. The harder stone naturally lasts longer, and these are all rock-carved dwellings. More than 365 churches have been found here, and we'll see the inside of some of those that are open because they restore them the whole time. And this is the fantastic Göreme Valley, everybody. Are you ready for some fun? After lunch. Neyse, çok şükür namazda yetiştik.
Allah kabul etsin.
Arada bunlar neredeyse kiliselerin içinde yapacaklar.
Gezebilirsiniz diyor ben sana. 2 gün sonra da batıp gideceğiz.
Üstlerin arasında durma, olur mu? Çıkışımız kolay olsun. Vakti iyi kullanmak açısından.
Merdivenlerin tam önüne almayayım mı?
Hayır abi, al. En uca doğru al.
pass. Lütfen geçiniz. Please pass. Lütfen geçiniz. Please pass. Lütfen geçiniz. Please pass. Lütfen geçiniz. Please pass. Lütfen geçiniz. Please pass. Lütfen geçiniz. Please.
All the business going away, okay? My ladies and gentlemen, what we do is we go to the end like there. Where I gave you your tickets is where we meet on the way down. And I'll give you time to meet me there. That will give you time to you wish to say anything, sir? About the Cappadocian early father. Yes, this was a safe haven, underground, overground, in two accounts. And I will cover as much as I can on that. But let me just show you quickly what we have here. This is St. Barbara's chapel, and it's the 11th century chapel. All of these, if you follow my laser pointer, are carved from inside out. It's an 11th century chapel in the form of a basilica. The left and the right aisles and the center portion with the domes on top, with Jesus Christ seated over the throne, again holding the Bible with the left hand, blessing with the right, like we're used to seeing him in Constantinople. And there's lots of this cross designs everywhere, as much as you can see. And the color is red, the basic color. This is what's Matherwood red. Imagine this is 900 years old, this place. And still, even with the sun coming through that window, this mather rooting here is still intact. So, of course, the natural dyes and their strength was one of the early converts. This is about the 3rd century AD we're talking about. And her father found out. I know. So, everyone, this is the Serpentine Church. It's an interesting one. If you look behind you, you can see the natural layout, the landscape of Cappadocia, like the Therid chimneys. This is again 11th century AD, so it's got nothing to do with the iconoclastic period, okay? And this is around 1054, remember the schism, so that's the same century we're talking about. So by that time, they're quite in knowledge of the Catholic and the Orthodox division around here. And then we have Jesus Christ with a little boy above the entrance. First, the church started out from that side, and the more bigger the congregation needed to be, they dug it out towards the entrance here. This is why it's shaped like that. And if you look on the left-hand side now, try to come to the right-hand side. This is the most important painting of all, the fresco of Constantine the Great with Mother Helena holding onto the cross that she brought from Jerusalem. Nowhere else will you see this, and this is how the story is all related with it. Okay? So the cross is in pieces. Remember when we drove by it in Istanbul, I told you it's underneath that column we drove by on the second hill, where the family of Constantine were buried. Father Tom told us that he himself was buried with the Holy Apostles' Church, which is on the 4th hill, but this is the second hill, where the rest of the family are buried, and that is the difference, and that is the cross in full. Now this is again George and Theodore slaying the serpent. Now you can see the serpent much better on this side. And this is done by the locals, unfortunately, thinking this is the crossword puzzles. But if you come on the other side, I will show you something interesting. Let's change positions, please.
Who is up there?
This is one of their students of Brazil.
Okay.
Another one we have, student here next to Brazil. This is from Caesarea, Saint Basil we talked about. And this is Saint Onufrius. Now Onufrius has an interesting story. She was a very, very pretty lady and was in trouble with the men because they came on too strong, we understand, to her. So she praised the Lord and prayed to him that she would be uglified. Then the beard and the mustache appear. You can see the breasts, but there's this big leaf down below, so we cannot comment on that part.
May I make a little comment on it?
By all
Not on that part, but
by all means.
okay. Saint Onufrius is San Onofre.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
We know San Onofre.
Yeah.
It was because I turned it off. I forgot to turn it on. I turned the camera off.
No, I sometimes get you deliberately.
Okay.
All prepared for booby traps, so be careful.
Probably is.
No. No. My ladies and gentlemen, to figure what this place is, look to the ceiling. What are you noticing?
It's a kitchen.
Kitchen. Kitchen. The storage down below. Okay. Next room. And the next one is the dining room. We're going to see this. Because you have to see books say this is big enough for 50 people. And they were from Singapore, they're not all the big guys, so we could all sit 50 of us. So maybe 40 to 50 is a good number for this dining table to be, depending on the size of the people you're talking about. And again, the corner, so like study groups, if you think of them, that they were being educated with at the time. Now the dining room here to the left.
Don't think it was designed that way. But it could have been. Could have relaxed.
Why they're building today's buildings with the same kind of tufaik stone, like in that restaurant. So they have less of a heating bill. And this is what I meant by, you know, when they start in this business, they go into one church and start to explain about Christianity. There was more security in bigger cities. My ladies and gentlemen, we did a lot of explaining in Kora Church, so I'm not going to take up that kind of time here, but just show you that we have the Last Judgment, the Virgin Mary, Jesus Christ, St. John the Baptist, and the 6 Church Fathers, again, like we saw in Cora Church. Angels, especially in these little domes on the sides. And Jesus Christ with all the angels around him in the center dome. And then we have nativity scene. You can see him having the first bath. He's in the manger. The ox and the ass are looking in. Virgin.
So this is the dark church. I don't think so, because notice how they're all defaced.
And that was during, that was...
This would have been Islamic.
Okay, because depicted in human form.
Yeah.
Okay.
But probably done popularly, by local people, rather than official. One face left intact.
Now, in there they're showing, they're showing Jesus' stomach, and then they show those little, looks like eggs on his arms. I wonder what that is all about.
I think that was their attempt to show biceps.
The Assumption, right? The Transfiguration here. And then,
the Transfiguration.
And then who's that? Moses and...
Moses and Elijah.
Yeah.
And then the apostles and Jesus. Again, stylized in just the same way as we saw in the other one. Or are we the last out?
Just us. We're the only ones that can...
Have your tickets ready for the guard?
This is the Buckle Church.
Would you like to come closer, please? Well, I'm privileged to be able to take you through the Buckle Church, which was being restored, newly lit up. As you can see, it's in beautiful condition. And we have the buckle. It's like a buckle, the format. It's like an inverted T plan, like a buckle, the format. And it is basically the earliest church in this region. It dates back to the 10th century. And parts of it is from the 11th century. And basically, all the nativity again to the left. And then you can see the Annunciation to Virgin Mary on the right by the angel. And if you look to their front, you will see
Libra bar.
When the sun comes over in the outskirts of Garame Valley, look at the structures at the front.
Oh my.
Look at that. And if you want to take movies from the front seat, you're welcome to do it. The sun does the trick around here, as you can see. Outside forces, they could well hide them. So again, going through such places,
hopefully will make you appreciate our times when we go to the mosque or to the church and to be able to worship in total freedom. What they used to go through in order to keep their faith going in those years will be more important to understand. This region is called Chawushin. One of the 365 churches is up on the hill. Also from the red dye is still visible, like the ones we went. Look at the caps to your right outside of the fairy chimneys still standing. I've seen actually 2 fall off in my 40 years. So this erosion process is definitely continuing. As it is colder in the winter and warmer in the summer, the rocks expand and shrink because of the changing weather conditions. And this is in that skyline with the Turkish flag at the top and the castle, a Byzantine castle used by the Ottomans, mostly from the 6th century AD, as I'm told. Gore, Göre, G-O umlauts R-E. Very similar name.
Got it.
Okay. I have a heart problem or feel claustrophobic. I will send you to the bus. And with the rest of you, I will go ahead. And it's very difficult to say exactly how long our walk in the underground city will take, but there's plenty of air inside because of the air shafts. And there's light inside. And we'll go down to the underground city. One thing which is very important is not to touch what's above us and look to see what it's like. Then we'll get it in our eyes. But to understand the feeling of what tufa feels like, it's a good idea to touch it like this. Touch it now.
Get it out of your system.
While it's on the side, get it out of the system.
He's had 8th grade tours.
So now you know the feeling. And all it does take is a chisel and a hammer and about 2 days for 2 guys to open a room in this size. Because it's easy work, soft stone, and can be done easily because we have new sections where this is happening, and I asked the people how long it takes to open up a room in this size, and that's the answer I seem to be getting. Now if you look here,
And the water doesn't come through the top of these things. That's interesting too.
correct. Now if you look in here, let me find my pen. You are seeing these holes for tying horses. Or camels, which they were using, because this is basically the stables where we are. What I'm trying to do is explain a little bit here and let them go ahead of us, because if they get stuck in front of us, then we get stuck behind them. So I will wait till the next group appears, a little bit longer, I mean, then we will make the move. So imagine that is one of those millstones which would be pivoted to the opening of the underground city. And once it's stuck inside, they would not be pushed from the outside. It's fitted into an area much larger inside and outside, and it was stuck in between, so there was no way the outsiders could penetrate. an old system, like the Indians used, smoke out the people so they would come out. Well, they had built many shafts. So even though this has not been used almost 1,000 years, there's plenty there down there with everything not in operation for 1,000 years because of all this excessive shafting system is how that is made possible. In 1967, when I started as a guide, they were just opening this town. So this is when it became well known that cities like this were here, they knew it, but there was no access to it. So it is quite within my life when all this activity started. Remember the Time magazine reporter I told you about, he made this place very famous. Then I mean, people started coming here by the thousands. That Pigeons Valley, which we will see tomorrow, is where they have always had pigeons for the manure. So they could use it as a fertilizer. This is why the pigeons were kept there for a long time. Now there are only a few of these pigeons in that region because they don't use it for that purpose because of all the artificial ones that they use instead. And so basically, imagine this red arrow will take us down and the blue arrow will take us out. And when we go from point A to B, let's walk together is what I'm saying. And one good way of finding out you're not bumping your head is to use an antenna like this over the head. So keep this on your head when you walk, like this. And you will get the feeling, okay? No, this doesn't work. That doesn't work. It has to be like this. So you don't bang your head. Then you will feel it, or you will have a lot of pain tonight, okay? So we'll have to watch out for that. So the first two levels is easy, okay? Because then you will start to use this, but third and the fourth levels is where you cannot do without that. Okay? And then you're fully squatted in the third and the fourth stations. So from the fourth station, we're at the bottom. And there again, we can take some video and pictures at that level. And then we'll start walking up. But walking up doesn't mean it's always up. Sometimes it's up and down, but we'll finally come through here at the end. And I've had many people getting lost here. Not on my tour, so please stay with me, is what I ask of you, okay? That's the key to success. This way we start, please. Antenna up. That's the church, okay? You can do the antenna walk. All right. You see, it's not as cold here. It'll get warmer further down we go. And then it's going to be outside temperature closer we come back to where we started from. But this is a church, apparently. Look at this church. And that is the altar where Frank is.
I'm back here.
I'm sorry, where Bill is, and that is the front of the church, the altar. And then you have all these little openings everywhere, all of these. So there's no shortage of air. I'm sure you're feeling that, okay? And there's all these side areas where people slept. We're not going into those sections because they're lower than these. This is enough suffering for a pilgrimage, I think. What do you think? There's a group behind us, I think. So, suffer more? All right. All right. This is level 1, okay? Level 2 is not suffering. Level 3 and 4, suffering. So let's
just stop right there.
all right, let's Thank you. Let's go for level 2, please. This way now.
We have more targets population than anyone else.
That level is all stuck, so stay where you are. That's better.
This would not have been an altar.
Level 2, it's warmer, isn't it?
Yes.
So, I mean, this is what the ground really does, this kind of tufa. Is from here on to level 3, we have the first squatting session. And this is just wide enough for me. So don't open up the arms, okay? Just stay tight, go like this, with this, and keep walking. And this is like 30 yards, and then the opening will be to the right. And there will be an opening like this, so I can see you when I am to the right. I can see you pass in front of me. So if I see you break the caterpillar, it'll be difficult for the ones behind you. So please, let's make one caterpillar and make it to the legs level. This is where we had the depots for the food. So
They can't stand all the way up yet. Let's see what's in here.
we're all here now.
There you go.
Higher in here.
We'll catch you in California.
Okay, go A's.
Go Dodgers.
Go Dodgers. The Angels and the A's.
No, Dodgers.
As far as I'm concerned, I hope the Dodgers do win because that means they beat the Giants.
Exactly. Thank
Anybody
you.
that beats Barry Bonds is
Thank
my
you.
hero.
I like you.
Honest.
How are you?
There's no proof that Barry Bonds uses steroids. Yeah. That's just an unfounded accusation. Yeah. He's a nice boy. That's right. Good Catholic.
If you keep talking to him, you will lose the guide. Yes. And the wife and the guide will look for him all over the place. This is our millstone.
This is what they...
Look at the size, how they pushed it here. The entrance right here. Look at all that. And this is all being dug from inside out. This material does not come from outside, so it has to generate carry it out. Carry it out. We have a winery pit again. We can see you sit on those steps.
I was taking a break.
All right. Hey, wonderful.
Hey, there we go.
You're almost.
Come over here, Russ.
It's higher on this side. Catch your breath, take all your pictures.
Hi there.
If you sit where I sit, this is a good, okay, this is a good place for a picture. And this to the left, where some of us are, is the continuation for the level 5. They will open that area here, they will give us the access to go any further down below. And from here on, we're on to the blue arrows. All right, everyone? Yeah. Now we've done the hard part. From now on,
It gets worse.
no, we're going up, but there are only a few places where we'll still go down. And